Hello everyone, and welcome back to CM50, the video edition. In this video, we'll be expanding on Unit 24 of CM50, which covers complements. Now, this video is the longest and most in-depth yet, so don't forget to check out the timestamps in the description if you need to jump to a particular section. So, what are complements? Well, complements complete or enhance something. And that's the idea behind Genesis 2 verse 18. I'm going to make a helper for him as a complement of him. So complements complete or enhance. Now in grammar, complements complete by giving further or additional information about a verb and sometimes about an adjective. Now in this video, we're going to cover four types of complements, and we'll consider how each complement provides additional information by means of answering a particular question. The first type of complement is resultative, answering the question, what was the result of the verb? The second kind is directional, what was the direction of the verb? And the third is potential, what is the potential of the verb? And the fourth type is degree, what is the degree of the verb? And don't worry, all of these images that you've just seen will soon make sense. So let's dive in with the first type of complement, resultative, which answers the question, what was the result of the verb? But why would we even need to ask that question? Well, many English verbs indicate an action and its result in one word. For example, see is the result of the action look. Hear is the result of the action listen. And find is the result of the action search. So that's what we see in English. But many Chinese verbs are open-ended. They only indicate the action and not the result. Take, for example, the verb ting, which means listen. And of course, the result of listen is hear. Now, just to re-emphasize the point, in English, there are two separate, distinct words for the action listen and for the result hear. But in Chinese, the word for the action listen is ting, but there is no distinct standalone word for the result hear. Instead, a resultative complement is used to make that distinction. So here's a list of common resultative complements. Dao, accomplish. Dong, comprehend. Wan, complete. Dui, correct. 错, incorrect. 清楚, clear. Now let's think about the word hear. It really means that the result of listening has been achieved. Or to put it another way, the action of listening has been accomplished. So if listen is ting, then hear is ting dao. I hear a sound. 我听到一个声音. And continuing on, 懂 means to comprehend or understand. So understand by listening is 听懂. I understand what you mean. 我听懂你的意思. So imagine someone has just verbally explained something to you, and then you say, I understand what you mean. 我听懂你的意思. One, complete. To finish listening, 听完. Finish listening to the recording first. 先听完录音吧. 对, correct. To hear correctly, 听对. Did I hear correctly? Your sister is 14. 我听对了吗？你妹妹14岁. 错, incorrect. To hear incorrectly or to mishear. 听错. You misheard. I said she's 40. 你听错了。我说她40岁。清楚, clear. To hear clearly, 听清楚. Did you hear clearly what he just said? 你听清楚他刚才说的吗? So the verb, the action that we've used in all of the examples here is 听, which means listen. Let's try it with another verb, another action. 看, which means to look. Now remember that 听 means listen and 听到 means hear. Now using the same principle, if 看 means look, then how do we say see? 看到. Did he see us? 他看到了我们吗? Let's try another one. How would we say to see clearly? 看清楚. I see clearly when I'm wearing glasses. 戴上眼镜，我看清楚. So much like 听, which means listen, 看, which means look, can be paired with every complement we see on the left. 看到, see. 看懂, to understand through looking. 看完, to finish looking. 看对, to perceive something correctly. 看错, to perceive something incorrectly. Or 看清楚, to see clearly. So it's possible to pair every complement on this list with 看and 听, but that does not apply for every verb. Take 吃, for example, which means eat. How would we say finish eating? 吃完. When I finish eating, I'll take a nap. 我吃完后就会小睡一下. So, finish eating, 吃完, this makes complete sense and is logical. However, it wouldn't make sense to say 吃懂, understand through eating. This would be incorrect. Nor would it make sense to say 吃清楚, eat clearly. This would also be incorrect. So as we can see, not every verb can be paired with every complement. The pairing has to make sense and be logical. Now to negate resultative complements, we use may or mayo, which means did not. So going back to 吃完, which means finish eating, I didn't finish eating would be 我没有吃完 or 我没吃完. To hear is 听到. I didn't hear you come in. 我没有听到你进来 or 我没听到你进来. So these are resultative complements which provide additional information by answering the question, what was the result of the verb? The second type of complement is directional, which answers the question, what was the direction of the verb? Take this man, for example, at the bottom of the stairs, and he will walk, that's the verb, up, that's the direction. Walk up the stairs. So directional complements indicate the direction or movement of an action. They provide information about where the action is headed or where it originates. They can be simple or compound. Let's take a look at simple directional complements first. So here on the left is a list of common directional complements. 上 up, 下 down, 进 in, 出 out, 回 back or return, 过 across or over. Now, seeing as these are directional complements that tell us in which direction a verb is going, then it makes sense that the verbs these complements would enhance would be motion verbs, verbs that indicate some kind of movement, such as 走, which means to walk. So walk up would be 走上, walk down, 走下, walk in, 走进. How would we say walk out? 走出, walk back, 走回, walk across, 走过. Here are some example sentences. They slowly walked up the hill. 他们慢慢地走上了山坡. Now, just to point out the use of le here, which we've already seen a number of times in this video, and we'll discuss this in detail in the next unit. But to put it simply, le indicates completed action. So in this case, 走上 would mean walk up. 走上了 means walked up. Walk down the stairs carefully. 小心走下楼梯吧. Wait until they walk into the room. 等他们走进房间. They walked out the house. 他们走出了房子. I am going to walk back home. 我要走回家. Walk across the bridge, then turn right. 走过桥，然后右转. So, we've been using 走 as the example verb. Let's try another motion verb, 跑, which means run. How would we say run out? 跑出. Another motion verb is 带, which means bring. How would we say bring back? 带回. Now, to negate simple directional complements, again, we would use may or mayo, meaning did not. So going back to 带回, which means bring back, how would we say did not bring back? You didn't bring back the keys. 你没有带回钥匙 or 你没带回钥匙. 跑出 means run out. How would we say did not run out? They did not run out of the building. 他们没有跑出大楼 or 他们没跑出大楼. Let's take another look at this list on the left. 上 up, 下 down, 进 in, 出 out, 回 back or return, 过 across or over. So these are all directional complements, which we added to motion verbs to indicate the direction of the verb. For example, 走上 or 跑出. But, and here's where it gets interesting, these simple directional complements can also themselves behave as motion verbs. And as such, they can then be enhanced with either 来, which means to come, indicating toward the speaker, or 去, meaning go, indicating away from the speaker. For example, 上来, what would this mean? Come up. Remember now, 上 is no longer functioning as the simple directional complement, but rather as the motion verb, meaning move upward, and 来 acts as the simple directional complement, indicating movement toward the speaker. So, 上来, come up, move upwards toward the speaker. With that in mind, how would we say go up? 上去. So, 上来, come up, move in an upward direction toward the speaker. 上去, go up, move in an upward direction away from the speaker. Come up and help me move this box. 上来，帮我搬这个箱子. Go up and help him move that box. 上去，帮他搬那个箱子. Come down, move in a downward direction toward the speaker. Go down, move in a downward direction away from the speaker. Come down and tell her yourself. 下来，自己告诉她. Go down and tell her yourself. 下去，自己告诉她. Come in, 进来, move in an inward direction toward the speaker. Go in, 进去, move in an inward direction away from the speaker. Would you like to come in and sit? 你想进来坐坐吗? Sometimes I go in and sit. 有时候我进去坐坐. So imagine you have a return visit that's normally on the doorstep, but sometimes you go in and sit. 有时候你进去坐坐. Come out, move in an outward direction toward the speaker. Go out, move in an outward direction away from the speaker. Can you come out and play with us? 你可以出来跟我们玩吗? Can I go out and play with them? 我可以出去跟他们玩吗? So notice that even though the child is the speaker, and obviously therefore cannot move toward or away from himself, he would still use 出去. And this works the same as it does in English. If I'm leaving the house, I, as the speaker, would say, I am going to go out. 出去. Come back, 回来, return toward the speaker. Go back, 回去, return away from the speaker. When will you come back to England? 你什么时候回来英国? When do you go back to China? 你什么时候回去中国? Come over, 过来, toward the speaker. Go over, 过去, away from the speaker. Come over and look at this painting. 过来看看这幅图画. Let's go over and look at that painting. 我们过去看看那幅图画吧. Note again how the speaker is involved in the movement and therefore uses 去. In this case, it's 过去. Again, this is how it works in English. I could say to my friend, let's go over. 过去. Let's go over there. Now let's take it back to the beginning, to 走上. So what is happening here? Well, 走 is the motion verb and 上 is the simple directional complement that gives us more information about the motion verb. But what about here? Well, now 上 is functioning as the motion verb and 来 functions as the simple directional complement. And the same is true of 上去. 上 again is functioning as the motion verb and 去 is the simple directional complement. So, we've just seen two kinds of simple directional complements. Now let's consider compound directional complements. Now, what is a compound? It is simply something that is made up of two or more different parts. So what are compound directional complements made up of? Well, let's go back to this simple directional complement where 上 is acting as the verb and 来 is the simple directional complement. But if we push these two together to form a compound directional complement, then this newly formed compound directional complement can be used to add even more additional information to motion verbs such as 走. So what are we being told here? Walk up, 走, walk, 上, up, 来, toward the speaker, 走上来. So let's illustrate this. Imagine this man has gone to visit his younger brother. The younger brother might say, come up, 上来. Now imagine these two like to joke around with each other. And the older brother says, well, how am I supposed to get all the way up there? And the younger brother says, 走上来, walk up. The older brother continues the joke and says, walk up where? And the younger brother says, walk up the stairs. Now we have an object involved, the stairs. So how do we say this in Chinese? 走上楼梯来. So we put the object 楼梯 in between the motion verb 上 and the simple directional complement 来. So that is the correct pattern and not 走上来楼梯. This is incorrect. The correct way is 走上楼梯来. So the younger brother is the speaker, and everything he said indicates that the older brother should move in a direction toward him. Now let's bring in the sister, who is the middle child. Everything she will say will indicate that the older brother should move in a direction away from her. So how would she say, go up? 上去. How would she say, walk up? 走上去. How would she say, walk up the stairs? Is it 走上去楼梯? No, 走上楼梯去. Now let's change the setting. The sister and the older brother are now outside, and the younger brother is inviting them inside. Let's start with the sister. What could she say to the older brother? Go in, 进去. How would she say walk in? 走进去. How would she say walk into the house? House is 房子. Is it 走进去房子? No, it's 走进房子去. Now the younger brother, how would he say come in? 进来. How would he say walk in? 走进来. How would he say walk into the house? Again, house is 房子. 走进房子来. Now we might think to ourselves, is all of this really necessary? How often do we use directional complements in everyday speech? Well, it's more common than we might realize, particularly when we're relating a story or even telling someone about something that happened that is really simple. For example, yesterday, when I was at work, 昨天我在上班的时候, my boss walked into the room and said. So you see how natural it is to say walked into the room. This is a directional complement sentence, and we'd say it without even thinking about it. My boss walked into the room and said, 我的老板走进了房间来说 You are all fired. 你们都被解雇了. So, those are directional complements, both simple and compound, which provide additional information by answering the question, what was the direction of the verb? Now, the third type of complement is the potential complement, answering the question, what is the potential of the verb? So, potential complements indicate possibility or impossibility of an action, and they are formed by inserting the possibility or 不 impossibility between the verb and the resultative complement or directional complement. Now, the good news is we've already discussed both of these complements. Let's take a look at how it works with resultative complements first. So, as a reminder, let's again revisit the verb 听, which means listen. How do we say hear? 听到. So, in this instance, the resultative complement is 到. But what we want to know now is what is the potential of the verb 听到? In other words, can it be done or not? If it can be done, we would say 听得到, can hear. If it cannot be done, we would say 听不到, cannot hear. So, can hear, 听得到. Can you hear me? 你听得到我吗? So you know that scenario where you're handed the microphone at the meeting to give a comment, but it sounds really low. So you might say, 你听得到我吗? Or given how efficient Chinese is, you might just say, 听得到吗? Let's try another example. So to understand through listening is 听懂. And what we want to know is, what is the potential of this verb? Can it be done? Can we understand through listening or not? If it can be done, how would we say it? 听得懂, can understand. If it cannot be done, what would we say? 听不懂, cannot understand. I can't understand what he's saying. 我听不懂他在说什么. So that is how potential complements work when it comes to resultative complements and their verbs. And it's a similar method with directional complements. Let's take a look. We'll bring back that list of directional complements. 上 up, 下 down, 进 in, 出 out, 回 back or return, 过 across, over. Now remember, these could also function as motion verbs and could be suffixed with either 来 or 去. For example, 进 as a verb means to move in an inward direction, and 进来 indicates toward the speaker, whereas 进去 would mean away from the speaker, to go in. Now, depending on the context, it could also mean to get in. And we want to ask, what is the potential of this verb? Can it be done or not? Can we get in or not? If it can be done, what would we say? 进得去 can get in. If it cannot be done, what would we say? 进不去 cannot get in. So 进得去 can get in. We might ask of this woman in the image, can she get in? 她进得去吗? And the answer might be, she cannot get in. 她进不去. What if we wanted to say she cannot get in the room? So room is 房间. Now in this case, we wouldn't split anything up. We'd simply say 她进不去房间. So that's the pattern here. Here's another example. The clothes cannot go in. 衣服进不去. This could also be translated as the clothes cannot fit in. 衣服进不去. What if we want to specify that the clothes cannot fit in the suitcase? So the word for suitcase is 提箱. How would we say the clothes cannot fit in the suitcase? 衣服进不去提箱. Now let's take it back. 进不去 cannot fit in or cannot get in. Or again, depending on the context, cannot go in. And this all comes from 进去, where 进 is the motion verb and 去 is the simple directional complement. However, remember, these can be joined together to form a compound directional complement, which can then enhance another motion verb such as 塞, which means to stuff, and 塞进去 means to stuff into, just like these clothes. Someone has tried to stuff them into the suitcase. But the question is, can it be done or not? If it can be done, we would say 塞得进去 can stuff in. If it cannot be done, we'd say 塞不进去. The clothes cannot be stuffed in. 衣服塞不进去. What if we want to specify the clothes cannot be stuffed into the suitcase? So we would say 衣服塞不进提箱去. So now we put the object 提箱 between 进 and 去. So it's not 塞不进去提箱, but rather 塞不进提箱去. And that's the pattern. And there's more on that in CM50, page 47, unit 24.6. So, potential complements provide additional information by answering the question, what is the potential of the verb? Lastly, let's take a look at degree complements, which answer the question, what is the degree of the verb? In other words, to what degree does or did the verb happen? So degree complements indicate the degree of a verb or state. They provide information about to what extent an action is performed or the extent of an adjective or quality. So the structure is verb, the, and degree complement. And as mentioned, we can also use it with adjectives, in which case the structure would be adjective, the, degree complement. Let's first see how it works with verbs. Let's bring in a sentence. Lions run. So what is the verb here? Quite simply, 跑, run. But what we want to know is, what is the degree of the verb? To what extent is this verb performed? We could say something like, lions run really fast. 狮子跑真快. And what is the complement that gives more information about the degree to which the verb happens? It is really fast. 真快. But take a look at the structure and note what is missing from the Chinese sentence. It is 的. So 狮子跑真快 is incorrect. 狮子跑得真快 is the correct way to express this. And remember that everything after 的 is the degree complement, which in this case is really fast, 真快. Here is another example. The children are playing happily, so it follows the structure. 孩子玩 verb 的很开心 degree complement. 孩子玩得很开心. She sang very tenderly. 她唱得非常轻柔. Now, when there is an object, the verb is either repeated or the object gets moved to the front. So going back to this sentence, there is no object. There is only the subject, she, 她, the verb, sang, 唱, then 的, then the complement, very tenderly, 非常轻柔. But in this sentence, she sang that song very tenderly. There is an object, that song. Now there are two ways to handle this. We can repeat the verb, 她唱那首歌唱得非常轻柔, or we can move the object to the front. 那首歌她唱得非常轻柔. So both ways are correct, and it's down to individual choice or preference when it comes to which one you use. Here's another example. The children are playing happily. 孩子玩得很开心. Again, there is no object in this sentence, just the subject, verb, 的, and the complement. Well, how about this sentence? The children are happily playing games. In this sentence, the object is games. So we can repeat the verb, 孩子玩游戏玩得很开心. Or we can move the object towards the front of the sentence. 孩子游戏玩得很开心. So notice in this instance how the object doesn't come right at the beginning like it did in the last example, but rather it comes after the subject. Now why is that? Well, here's the rule. When the object is specific, like in this sentence, she sang that song. So it's made specific because of the determiner that. That song, 那首歌. In cases like this, the object goes right at the beginning before the subject. 那首歌她唱得非常轻柔. But when the object is not specific, like in this example, it's not this game or that game, it's just games. So in cases like this, the object comes after the subject. Now let's remove the object. The children are playing happily. 孩子玩得很开心. What if we want to say, the children are playing unhappily? Well, we simply replace 很 with 不. 孩子玩得不开心. Here's another example. She painted the scenery really well. 她画风景画得真好. She painted the scenery badly. 她画风景画得不好. So this is how degree complements work with verbs, where the structure is verb, 的, and degree complement. Now we can do a similar thing with adjectives, where the question is, what is the degree of the adjective? To what degree is the adjective true? Take a look at this sentence. He is tired. Now, normally in Chinese, we'd say 他很累. He is tired, 他很累. Or if we want to say he is very tired, then 他非常累. But when we want to use a degree complement, we can't also use an adverb. Now, we'll explain more about that later, but for now, let's remove the adverb 非常 and we're back to he is tired, 他累. Now, what is the adjective here? It is 累, tired. And what we want to know is to what degree is the adjective true? In other words, how tired is he? We would answer that question by saying he is so tired that 他累的 he can't keep his eyes open. 睁不开眼睛 he is so tired that he can't keep his eyes open. 他累的睁不开眼睛 And what is the degree complement here? It is can't keep his eyes open. 睁不开眼睛 So when we use the structure adjective, the degree complement, it forms sentences that say so adjective that complement. Let's take a closer look at this sentence. And remember we said that when we use a degree complement, we cannot also use an adverb like 非常. So 非常 means very. 睁不开眼睛 means can't keep his eyes open. So what is the problem here? Why can't we use them both at the same time in the same sentence? Well, because the adverb 非常 is modifying the adjective 累. But the complement 睁不开眼睛 is also modifying the adjective 累. So there is a clash. Two different things trying to operate on the same adjective. So to fix this is quite simple. We either say 他非常累, he is very tired, or we say he is so tired that he can't keep his eyes open. 他累得睁不开眼睛. Here's another example. She was so happy that she jumped. 她高兴地跳了起来. Now you might be happy to know that this is the end of the video. So we've looked at 4 types of complements. 1. Resultative. 2. Directional. 3. Potential. And 4. Degree. So we have looked at a great deal of information in this video. So don't forget that you can use the timestamps in the description if you need to review any particular points. So this has been quite an in-depth look into complements, and there's more to come in the very last unit. See you next time.